Matt, there've been we've 2 tests and now quite a few personnel changes this year again, especially in the back row, second row, even in the front row, you know. How have you felt the team has gone in the scrums and generally as a unit?
I think the good thing is all the forwards of the year have been with the Springboks before. Even the youngest one, Jean-Luc, was with us in the year too. So we've had a bit of continuity in work and in work detail from last year to this year. I think you know, if you look at it, cold hard facts, it's been a tough challenge for the pack, especially up front. You know, penalties pretty much shared even wise between the 2 packs. Scrumming against the French is always going to be a tough challenge. You know, arguably probably one of the best scrums in the Six Nations this year. You know, we knew it would be a really tough challenge. We've worked from early on, from pretty much our first camp with the front rows on identifying areas that we can work on, and I think they've done really, really well. And I think you can see beast emotion after that penalty that you know, we're getting better and we're starting to meet the objectives of what we set out for ourselves.
Matt, speaking of the forwards and the scrum, we saw it a couple of times came in and we struggled a bit at the restarts. Is that something of concern to you?
No, I think if you understand scrummaging at that level, the integrity and the stability around set is so paramount. There's going to be the dark arts played. We understand that. Our philosophy has been we would like a scrummaging battle where it's pack against pack, and that's what we're striving to accomplish. And I've been happy with the outcomes. We've been getting, the guys have been getting better technically. If you look at particularly the engagement sequence, the body height, the body shape of the players, I've been really, really pleased with that. And it's always been my philosophy, you can't be dominant if you aren't accurate. So, and I've been very pleased with the accuracy of our pack. You're scrumming against another pack that has your own philosophy, and those things tend to happen in, you know, where your journals called the dark arts. So that's part of the game.
Matt, just a word on how the back row is lined up. We've seen Opa and Jean-Luc scrumming at number 8 on occasion. What's been the thinking around that?
Tactically, it's a few tactical things, not around the scrum. It's more around defensive alignment. Where we position our 8 is on the blind side, that he could be involved in kick chases and falling back. So for him to be at 8, we want our traditional open side position of the scrum and the guy at 8 chasing the ball. So that would be our 6 and our 7 would chase the ball and our 8 would fall back. So there's been a lot of hoo-ha about it, but Jean-Luc has played 8 at the age group level. We've done a lot of work at him there. Warren is capable of doing it. So you know, these guys are highly skilled forwards. You know, scrummaging is a collective, and it's not just about one little thing. I think when you get to the technical side of it, you talk about the front row. The back 5 it's a collective and it's a work together, and I've been very comfortable with the work they've done there, what the Opa's done there. You know, they're sharp players, great skill level, and I think they've adapted to that small little change pretty well.
Matt, sorry, you mentioned sometimes that prop play is sometimes a bit of a dark art type of thing as well, and obviously sometimes normal fans don't quite understand what good prop play entails. So obviously they start making comments like, is Beast past it, that type of thing. What are the type of things you guys look at in props and how they shape up and what their major strengths are?
You know, first of all, you know, that's to say a guy with 90 caps is past it is, in my opinion, is crazy. You know, Kunyi's probably our next most experienced front row, and it's when you talk about the dark arts, it comes with experience, and these guys have so much knowledge, and just having been there and done that, they pass that on to the rest of the guys. Skill level, you know, scrummaging is not a natural place for the body to be in, and the big thing there is to use these guys' physiques and their powerful muscles as best we can, and there we talk about body position. So that's the big driving focus for us, is to be able to get them into a position and a collective to drive into the direction we want to drive into. And that I measure, really, really accurately. And then I must say the work, I mean, I've seen Cooney put in, I've been with them in the Sharks, and what they put in is remarkable. You know, the work that these guys, when you don't see it, the work they do in the gym, they do it, you know, they do it after sessions, binding positions, where they're binding opposition. So these are the dark arts that these guys have been mastering. What you've got to understand about a scrum is you're bringing a ton of weight together within 30 centimeters, and you know, there's a lot going on there. These guys have been really, really good there, and I've been really pleased with the props.
How big has been the contribution of a guy like Bruce you speak of, his magic test?
It's been incredible. I mean, you talk to any of the props in the squad, he's been great. You know, it's been like the 6 we've had working with us, and Thomas du Toit as well, Oxenchair as well. You know, Walker Lowe. The guys have been contributing right the way through. Our first week in Joburg, we were Cooney and Ruan Graham were putting in, talking to each other about bind positions. That stems from an appetite for a collective to be successful, and that's not my work. That's their work, buying into wanting to be a dominant pack. And you know, when they work with each other and they, you know, talking to each other, because they're the experts. You know, I just try and create an environment for them to work in, and they're the ones giving each other the information and saying, well, this works for me, this works for me, try this is what this guy does. So, you know, they're upskilling each other constantly, and you know, it's just from a coach's perspective a rewarding environment to be part of.
Matt, you spoke about the work you guys put in. I mean, from the first test to the second, there were personnel changes with the French. Do you expect anything different this week in terms of how they approach the set pieces, and particularly the scrums?
You know, I played in Northern Hemisphere. I played against Yannick Roux, their forwards coach, who's a very, very sharp man. He played at Toulouse when I was in Edinburgh. And, I felt the wrath of that Toulouse side when they were at their peak. He's a sharp man. So whatever their personnel changes, I expect their philosophies to be the same. And their philosophies are they want a dominant platform. Whether that be all time, line-up time, scrum time, they want a dominant platform. They're a proud side. You know, if you watch them play during the Six Nations, there were a couple of games there that you know, they were very unlucky not to come away with wins. And particularly the English game, they were very, very forceful at scrum time. And, you know, that's what I'm expecting. It's what they do well. They've always been very, very good there. You know, I speak to Stephen coming back from France and seeing the upskill in his technical knowledge, because that's what their focus point is in the Northern Hemisphere. And we know up front we have to be on our game to be successful.
Matt, I was going to say, just the last one from Beast is he's normally quite a quiet guy on and off the field as well, but on Saturday you saw him quite vocal after a couple of the scrums as well. Obviously quite energized by the challenge.
Yeah, you know, the important thing from, you know, if you see it from our perspective is these guys are giving to each other, they're investing in the platform. You know, and I'll talk about the scrum particularly. They take pride in it. And when the guys invest in it and take pride in it and are constantly giving to that environment, when they gain that success, when they gain that, they you know, it's a massive boost for them. You know, and I'm pleased about it. I'm pleased that, you know, I've got at the current in the team 6 props who are dynamic personalities, who are driving the system. A couple of younger guys in the fringes that are, you know, really, really quality, and you know, that bodes well for South African rugby. You know, I'm very, you know, people look at it, and you made a comment, you know, collapses, and we got to understand this is international rugby. That where you've got these 2 monster packs going at each other, and our philosophy is not similar to the French, but we want a dominant pack as well. You know, it's going to be tough. So it's not going to be squeaky clean and easy. And I look at the emotional investment of the players. Technically, where can they improve? And what I've been very happy for.
And Matt, you spoke about players being the experts on the field. How much freedom are they given to express themselves? And do they work in a certain framework, or they're given the expression to just go out and do their thing?
I suppose it's like any skill. Each player has his individual skill set, and if you take Cooney's body frame, for example, and you take Francois Haber's body frame, they're very, very different. And I'm not prescriptive to them about their binds, about this. I try and guide them about what's best for them and where they feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, he's making a decision in in the moment, and I just want to upskill him to be able to make the best decisions suited for him. My job comes in tying the pack together, so there's a bit of a separation. I work on the individual and give them all the, be able to empower them to make those decisions. And there's always been the adage that props intelligent guys, because they're having to make split decisions based upon a lot of physicality in their face. And as I said, from a coaching perspective, when I look at them, I look at the decisions they're making, I've been very proud.
Matt, how much emphasis do you put on ball handling skills for your forwards?
No, in our environment, that's Johan's department. Johan does a lot of work with the back and attacking fundamentals and stuff like that. I tend to be on the other side, on the dark side, where it's collision and contact. So that's my focal areas. But I mean, if you look at Cooney's try, look at the try Cooney set up for Thomas in the Super Rugby, Stephen's ability beast making 2 passes out the back. I think there's the environment in the team that Ellis has created is one of everybody giving to the environment and trying to improve the environment. And when that exists, players take the challenge. And from coaches, that's what we're proud of, is the players are taking the challenge and growing. So we aren't descriptive to them about specific skill sets and that, but we try and encourage them to grow and to make decisions, make better decisions. And they've got the skills, and if you look at them, they have the skills. So we just want them to be able to make the right decisions.
Matt, some will say that far bigger challenges lie ahead for the Springboks with the Rugby Championship and that. And when it comes to scrumming and forwards and that, I mean, is this French team, are they giving you the examination you wanted ahead of those clashes?
Every test match is an examination. It's different. And all we can do is focus on this challenge. I've learned that as a forward and as a forward coach, you don't look down the line. Your immediate challenge is big, it's rough, and you take it square on. You don't focus. I haven't got time to worry about the bigger picture. I think we just focus on this test match.
Any chance of seeing 1 or 2 new faces in the front row this weekend?
Ellis has spoken about a bit of capacity, improvement and growth in the front row. The problem is those 4 guys have been playing well, so you've got your reward there. So I don't get paid to make that decision. It's not my decision to make. I'll give Ellis my best assessment of where the guys are and what I feel is best for the challenge, and he'll make that decision.
Just a word on Stephen Kissel. How he's grown the last few years.
Yeah, I've known Stephen from the year we pulled him out of Paul Roos. Good kid, a real excellent forward. I think the 2 of them have blossomed into 2 very similar type of players, very robust, great defenders, great attacking players. If I look at the work they've done in the scrum, when they've come on, they've been excellent. So they're very similar, the 2 of them. It's like 2 pocket battleships going out there when they hit the field. And I'm fortunate to be able to work with guys like that. They're great individuals, and I respect their ability. I wouldn't want to play.
How much bragging goes on amongst the props after a tackle that like Stephen has made and a try that Cooney scored on Saturday? Is there quite a good banter around afterwards?
Just share a good beer.
Matt, you talk of players working as a collective and wanting to be successful as a unit. Would you perhaps say something that was missing without looking back at last year's result, giving the 2 results that we've had against the French?
Doors closed. Sorry, I can't answer.
Would you say the players are now starting to gel well together and know what to expect in terms of?
A lot of good came out of last year. No lesson is a bad lesson. What we learned out of last year is priceless, and we've taken that on board. And the thing about the environment now is it grows from some, and that's the important fact, is this environment is growing from that, and we're thankful for the lessons we learned. The pride that goes with this team, what this team represents is an important factor to realise. And when you put it on, I just get to wear the tracksuit. I don't get to wear the jersey. These guys. But when you see what they put into it, I respect that.
Just from you on a personal level, how satisfying was it to see Scotland beat Australia on Saturday?
Strange question.
No, but I mean,
I was actually chatting about it when I made my debut. It was against the same tour 9 years ago, and my roommate was Greg Townsend. So I sent Greg a good message and wished him good well, and happy for my roommate that they're doing well. But not too happy because we'll have to face them sooner or later.
Okay. Okay. Right, let's switch quickly.